Blaise Rosser.
Cicci!
How you doing?
I am just working over here, trying to sell and help buyers find houses. It's been a busy morning already. It's almost like the spigot was turned on right after the January 1st.
Yeah.
They turned the water back on because during the holidays it always gets a little dry, which is nice. It gives us a chance to take a break. I don't regret that. But once the first hits, man, it's off and running.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. Possible 3 new listings came over this morning while I was working.
Nice.
So you didn't break anything on that snowy mountain that you're on?
No. My daughter, this was our 4th time going out, and she's already trying to teach herself how to ski backwards. So
I saw that video. That's crazy. That's awesome. Well, let's get into the market.
Let's
All
go.
right. All right, hold on. Let me change screens here. Okay. All right, so here's what we've had. We had 29 new listings come on the market this past week.
Okay, how'd that compare to before? We had 50 last year.
50 last year on this week.
48 in 2019. I mean, we're below 2017 numbers. We were on this uprise, but what do you think? Why do you think we just dropped off so quick?
I think people have a fear of selling. Either they're scared for, what's going to happen with their jobs. They're scared of what they're going to find. I think people just have a fear of pulling the trigger, getting their house on the market. What do you think?
Interesting. No, I mean, it's a combination of things. As far as the inventory, we just have these low interest rates, that everybody can take advantage of. But we're just not seeing these listings hit. So it's either people are nervous about COVID and they don't want to sell during that time. And we're going to have, at some point, we're going to have an influx of listings that are going to hit the market.
Right.
We just truly have an upside down number right now where it's just not enough listings to go around. So I'm hoping it's not the second answer. I'm hoping it's just a supply and demand type thing where interest rates are low and we got plenty of buyers and they're scooping them up, but we do need more inventory.
Well, we definitely have a supply demand thing. And there are plenty of buyers, although some buyers are backing off because they're not finding anything, but there are plenty of buyers out there. We still have plenty of buyers out there. However, when you look and you see 29 new properties hitting the market, we have a shortage. We need people to list. And actually, and we say this every week, they can really take advantage of the market. Listing and buying up it's better than ever. So
the hard part for people to understand is because when we pull up these numbers, they're thinking, man, I drive around and I see all these signs all over the place as houses for sale. What they don't realize is those signs don't necessarily represent a house for sale. That's a house that was for sale at some point in the near
contract.
It doesn't mean that it's not under contract or pending, or maybe even sold a week ago. They just haven't removed the sign.
Right.
So you can't base these numbers off of how many signs you're seeing. These are actively listed properties that don't have contracts on them as of yet, which is it's tough to say.
Hold on.
Some of them might have contracts.
Of these 29, part of these are already under contract.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, so again, we're on this downward trend, and hopefully somewhere here in the near future, we have a little bit of a spike. The other factor that plays in here in Northeast Ohio is winter and snow. Some people just don't want to list during this time, and they'd rather wait till the weather changes. So that could be a factor that's going on as well. But I like to look back year over year to see what people were doing. And last year, there were 50 houses listed this week where we only got 29.
We do see blips. So if it's a huge snowfall or extremely cold weather, we see drops. And if it's extremely mild weather, we do see increases. Of this 29, just let me explain real quick. Of this 29, this includes coming soons. So they might not even be on the market yet.
Okay.
Ones that hit the market and ones that hit the market last week but also went under contract.
Wow. Okay. So,
So we sold 31 homes last week. 31 homes closed last week, which is up from the previous week. But again, the holiday week was the previous week. So that makes total sense. Yeah, so we sold 31. We're at our present inventory now is, blows my mind, 154 homes for sale.
Without that number going up of new houses listed, we're already in the red on your picture on the graphic that you're showing. I mean, we could potentially get to the E and just be begging for the new houses to come up, which leads me to the next thing. Builder confidence. Builders' confidence is extremely high right now because there's low inventory. So when you don't have a house to buy that's existing, what do you got to do?
You got to build.
You got to build. So we got a lot of new subdivisions. If you're driving around in Medina County, there's some subdivisions that you see them put in the road one day, and then there's a bunch of houses the next. Right. You know, it's almost done.
It's a mature neighborhood in a couple months. Yeah, no, well, not a couple months, but yeah.
Right. It happens in the blink of an eye. I mean, I drive past one daily and I am just in awe. And I do this every day for a living, how quickly they're selling. But I get it. There's not inventory. So what do buyers got to do? They got to look for that new construction route, and that's an option.
And speaking of that, if you guys out there in television land have...
It's not television land, Chief. Look how old you are. It's the internet, the interweb.
The interweb. If you guys out there in television land have big acreage for sale, let us know. We've got builders that want to build developments. So let us know. Maybe we can work something out there. That'd be fantastic. All right. Anything else on this? What do you think's happening because of only 154 homes out there?
Prices. They're going up.
Yeah.
People are asking more for their homes. Good thing is interest rates counterbalance that, but at some point we got to talk about inflation, which leads us into, what is it that's coming up this week as an indicator? CPI is coming out,
right,
which has to do with inflation. That is going to be a number that we all want to pay close attention to.
Well, here's something I found interesting. This is a change from January of last year until today. We've had an increase of 4.56% change inflation. All right. Average price homes last year versus this year. This is Medina County. Now, I went back and I looked. U.S. average housing inflation between 1967 and 2020 has been 4.19. I kept thinking we're way off. We're not as far off. Granted, it is higher. But it's not, to me, I don't know, what do you think? 4.19 versus a 4.56.
Well, when you take the average over from 1967 to 2020, we have these low years as well as high years.
Right.
But the fact is, the number that we're looking at right here now is we're above average. And we all knew that because you're going to have years where inflation on homes is going to go, the price that people are asking for them is dramatically higher than what they were the previous year. It's same thing when the CPI comes out. What CPI is it takes a basket of goods, imaginary goods, and says, okay, what is the national average that we're paying for that group of goods that's in the basket? And it changes from time to time. And that's what inflation looks like. What are we spending for the price of gas, the gallon of gas? Those types of things all play into inflation and our housing market.
The government would like to see that around 2%.
Right.
They'd like to see that inflation number around 2%. They try and control that. One of the ways they control that is with interest rates.
Right. Yeah. And keeping that around 2%, so it's the goal.
Right.
But, we go above, we go below. All right. What else you got?
I have a blank page. How's that?
No, that'll.
Rates came down again. We're at 2.67 as our average.
Okay, but here's what I'm seeing when it comes to this is they did go down again, but we got a little bit of fear in the market right now. We had that, not to get political or anything, but we had this whole storming of the Capitol or whatever that is that happened last week, and that causes fear. Fear causes interest rates to go up. So we may see a little bit of a spike in interest rates, and And really, what is the question? I mean, we can talk about CPI, inflation, and all these other things, but the bottom line is, what does the consumer want to know? The people that are watching this, is my house price going to go up or down? That's the question. And what is it right now? It's going to go up. You know, the price.
Honestly, all you can do is follow the trend, and the trend is that it's going up. However, nobody, I don't care who they are, can read into the future and tell you for sure what's going to happen.
Sure, but there's two things that the consumer wants to know. Is my house price going up or down? Right now, it points to up, even if we have a little spike in rates. But now here's the next question is, if you're not in the market, this doesn't matter. You know, your house is going to go up and down over time, depending on the trends. But if you're in the market to buy, one of the things that we're going to see a little bit that we haven't seen in years is, should I lock in my rate or should I float? We haven't had that fear in a long time. So if we have a spike, we're looking at, should I lock? Should I float? Those types of things. And right now, that indication, you know, with fear in the market is
start locking.
You know, there's this thing where they say, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. These rates are too good to be true. So don't wait for it to go lower. If you're that person sitting on the fence waiting for, you know, interest rates to go lower, which they could. I'm not going to say they're not going to do that later on in the year. But in the immediate future, if you're in the process of buying a house and you have one under contract, get that thing locked in.
Lock that rate in.
So that you're sitting pretty when it comes time to closing.
All right. I think that's about it for us this week.
Okay.
All right. Blaise Rosser, you have a wonderful, wonderful week.
You as well.
Write some business.
Next week.
All right.